What up? What up? What up?
Good morning. Good morning.
Great morning, everybody. Great morning. Great morning. Great. I'm going to get a couple of things squared away. For those of you guys who are just jumping on, want to invite you to invite somebody, right? And so I'm trying to get my sound together. Hold on one second, guys. And we're going to invite Instagram here in a quick second. But I want to make sure that you guys can hear us and that we are sounding good. Do me a favor, as you guys are chiming in, I want you to let us know where you're coming in from. Hey, Daniela, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. Great to see you. Teresa, thanks for jumping in. Imani, thanks for jumping in. Just want to make sure that our sound is sounding pretty good. Tawana, hey, how are you? For those of you guys who are just jumping in, just let us know if you can hear us okay, if everything sounds okay. I'm working with some different microphones. I'm trying to make sure that we're good, and we're going from there. So everybody's saying yes. Okay, so I'll just leave that alone for now, and we will go from there. If you're on Instagram, can y'all do us a huge favor and follow us at Breakfast with the Brookses? We're getting ready to go live on Instagram. Give me 1 second, and we're going to invite you guys to come along for that ride as well. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Great morning. Great morning. I appreciate you guys for jumping in. If you can, while you are on Instagram, click the arrow at the bottom of the screen and let's talk. Let's chime in. Let's talk a little bit. I'm getting ready to go live here on YouTube, and we're getting ready to see what it is. Appreciate y'all. Hold on one quick second, and yeah,
The animation one.
where is it at?
Right there. The
There.
one that's lit.
Welcome to
You
breakfast.
can't see this morning.
Welcome to breakfast. That's what happens when I don't have coffee. See, I don't
Listen
have.
to this so you can hear the sound.
Okay, check 2 2 2 2 2 2. Check 2 2 2. That's the best I can do right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted
that's
you
the
to
best
hear
I
it.
can do. Yeah. Do me a favor, and yeah, our sound isn't the quality that I want it to be this morning, guys. But right now we're live, and so if you guys can hear us, okay,
Good
we're gonna go
morning.
with what we have. We're gonna go with what we have. So I just want to check in and chime in real quick, babe. How you feeling? You good? We're not going through that
I know.
microphone, by
I'm
the way.
good. I'm good. How
Yep.
you guys doing this
Everybody good?
morning?
Everybody good? We're going to talk about some things today that I think that needs to be
You
talked
don't want
about.
your water?
Not yet, please. Not
Okay.
yet, please. I'm trying to figure this out. I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you guys in today's audience is single? How many of you guys today is single? Put a 1 in the chat if you are single. Put a 1 in the chat. Woman, man, it don't matter. If you're single, and way we're going to define single this morning, guys, is you're not married.
You're not married.
I'm not asking you, are you dating? I'm not asking you, are you engaged? I'm asking you, are you single? Are you single?
You haven't
Available.
You haven't said the vows. You haven't
Are
gone
you the
through
one
the
for
ceremony.
me? She trying to overtalk me, y'all, because she don't
Yes.
want me to sing.
Good morning,
Good
guys.
morning, everybody.
Good morning, guys. So if you are single, put a 1 in the feed.
In the chat.
We got a couple people putting it on Instagram. Don't see nobody responding on YouTube yet. Okay, we got 1 1.
Okay, good.
Okay, they starting to come through. Hey, Daniela.
Yep.
Haven't seen you in a while. Great to see you this morning.
Listen,
welcome.
Listen, guys, do me a favor. Hand me that highlighter over there, please, and the pen. Last week, we talked about a subject. For those of you guys who are just chiming in, let me just slow down for a quick second. I'm a little discombobulated. I haven't had my coffee. I have water. It's not the same. And we're going to suffer through it. So, not another song. Nichelle, you don't like my singing? I'm mortified. No. She said, not another song. So here's what I want to do. For those of you guys who are just jumping in, and maybe you don't know us, my name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. And sitting right here next to me is the lovely light-skinned
Sheri Brooks Jr. I'm an author, a speaker, and a life coach, life balance and relationship coach as well.
So one of the things that we do is we get the opportunity to jump in and be a part of people's lives who decide that they want to grow their relationships with great intentionality. And I think that unfortunately what we have found is that there are not enough communities out there that focus on just that one thing. We believe in the principle of the one thing. What is the one thing? Such by doing it, makes everything either easier or unnecessary. And that is characterized in every component of your life, including your relationships. And so for us, our one thing really is adding value to people who want to grow their relationships intentionally. And we do that inside of the MAPS Relationship Academy. We call it the MAPS Relationship Academy. It stands for Marriages and Parenting Successfully. But one of the components of that is that we created a room for singles who want to position themselves for marriage. It's no secret, Sheri and I both were married before one another. I was married for 12 years, and she was married twice before me. And we learned a whole lot. A whole lot. We've been married this year. We turned 21 years in January. So we like to say that we're 21 years in a row because we know what it looks like to have hiccups along the way. But for us, we've been married for 21 years in a row. And babe, we've discovered a lot on this journey. And I remember when we were single, one of the things that we discovered was the thing that I think that made us sort of prime candidates for one another is that we both were busy about a work individually, that when we came together, that work was prominent or it was evident.
Right. And I think that one thing that's key, I know that for us was key, and I've seen it work in other individuals as well. If you're focused on you, if you're focused on growing yourself, being your best version of yourself, that when you do meet somebody, you're so focused on your own individual growth that you're not, for lack of better terms, you're not so focused on trying to get with somebody, but you're focused on yourself and you're growing and you're becoming the best version of yourself. That when that person comes, it's a natural fit because they're on that same path.
Got it.
If you're both on a path of personal development, you're both on a path of growing, you're both on a path of going somewhere, you're both headed in the same direction. When you come together, you're able to go on that journey together versus, one person, kind of being stagnant and they just there and they're just kind of waiting. And then this other person comes along that has momentum in their life and they're going somewhere and the other person doesn't. That can be challenging. So I think one of the biggest things for me, I know, was that when we met, I wasn't looking for anybody.
Right.
I wasn't looking to be in a relationship.
Right.
I was looking to grow. I had, like Glenn said, I had been married twice before.
Yeah.
And was trying to figure out for myself what was wrong with me. Not in a negative way per se. Not that I take the full blame for those relationships, but in every relationship, both parties play a part. Whenever a relationship is
right,
very rarely is it all one person's part. And I think that if you can look at yourself and find, okay, these are some areas that I need to grow in. These are some things that I could have done differently. These are some things maybe I saw that I didn't address, so I need to work on my communication. There were some things that I saw that I didn't address, so maybe I got some insecurities that prevented me from dealing with the issues. And you start focusing on those things within yourself and build yourself up. That when that person does come, the next time you meet somebody, you're in a relationship with a person, you're able to address things, you're able to be upfront, you're able to communicate effectively, and your relationship will evolve naturally. And you'll be able to identify things and realize, okay, maybe this isn't the person.
Right.
But maybe we can just be friends. We can be cool.
Right.
And you don't have to be in something for so long to realize, hey, maybe this ain't it.
Right.
Because you're ignoring stuff along the way.
Right. And so today, guys, I know that many of you guys are just jumping in, and we're going to get into today's content, Sheri. I think that that's really important because when we start talking about today's content, y'all, what we're going to discover is that there are things that these particular men identified as the one thing that said, you know what, I want to marry her. So if you're honest, and I think what I hear you saying, Sheri, it's not that anything is necessarily my fault or I am broken or something's, quote, wrong with me. But in Sheri's case, she had 2 failed marriages. So you have to ask the question, why was that?
Right.
What is happening in me that's not allowing me to show up in a way that is caught that aids or encourages or grows the relationship. And what is it in them? Now I can't control them,
right.
So that's the reason why we often will have people focus on themselves is because that's where you start playing in the realm of what it is that you can control. And I think that
Right.
unfortunately, most people spend an inordinate amount of energy
Trying to change the other
trying to
person.
change other people or trying to focus on what they cannot control. And that is frustrating.
Right.
I don't know about you, but hey, what's going on, Joe? Good to see you, brother, on Instagram. Uncle Joe, my dude, Russ Crawdaddy. Thanks for everybody chiming in. Babe, I think that the truth is that I gotta focus on what I actually can help move the needle on, and that becomes, what it is that I want out of the relationship. How do I need to position myself to get it?
Right.
And what do I need to do? And sometimes that positioning is I don't need to be messing with you.
Right.
I don't need to be in relationship with you.
Right. You can only control yourself. You can only if you focus on your own personal development. If you focus on you, then when you meet a person, this is, and I don't subscribe to the thing that, you meet a person, be like, hey, this is me, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be. I believe that we should always be willing to grow, always willing to evolve. And
Right.
if somebody brings something to your attention, hey, that's an area you might need to work on, that you're willing to be like, oh, okay, let me reevaluate that.
Right.
Let me grow in that. And that's where these things that these gentlemen shed some light on some things that I think a lot of times that we as women don't realize, that there are certain things that maybe there are areas that we're not working on or that we're not focused on, that are things that men are honestly, they're looking at.
Yeah. It's funny, and I want you guys, if you are interested in growing with us in the MAPS Relationship Academy, do me a huge favor, and I want you to go to you guys on IG, just put me in the chat, and I'll go back and DM you a link so that I can sign you. You can sign up for a free discovery session. For those of you guys who are on YouTube, they can't what?
They can just go to the website.
They could go to the website.
And then they can click on the maps.
But I wanted to be able to make sure it was very direct. I don't want them to have to scroll and look or anything. This link is direct. Sheri is excited about the website because she just recreated our website, and I do want y'all to look at that. Y'all see how I switched? I tapped into where she was at. No, that's not what it was?
That's not why, no.
Then why?
Because versus them having to wait for you to go back to send them a link.
www.glennpbrooksjr.com.
And you want to go to the maps link, and you click on there, and it'll give you some information on maps, and then you can schedule a free discovery session.
For those of you guys on YouTube, Karen, do me a favor. If you're there, drop the link, the direct link that I need you to put in the chat so that people can get there directly. Do me a favor, put that link in the chat, and that's a link that will allow you to sign up for a free discovery session. Admittedly, I am off this morning, y'all. Y'all be patient with me. I have not had my coffee, and I feel discombobulated. I feel combative, and I don't like that feeling.
That's a sign that you may need to leave the coffee alone.
That's not the right conversation you need to have with me right now in front of the children, baby.
I think we might have to do an intervention.
We need to do an intervention later, but that's not right now.
It's okay.
We're here live with the people.
So
ladies, gentlemen, listen. Y'all see, it's getting ready to get real. So listen. So here's what I want to do, babe. I want to run through very quickly a couple of things that we talked about last week. We're talking about the 13 things that these very honest men revealed about the one thing that makes them marry you. It's an article that I pulled up, and I thought it was super dope. Number 13 was, she's who I want to wake up to every morning. If I look forward to going to bed with her and waking up next to her in the morning, that is when I know I want to marry her. This is Matthew. He's 25 years old, and he said that. And last week we said, you know what? Although looks isn't always everything, it is something to say that when a person feels comfortable enough to want to be with you every single morning, and at a 25-year-old, they're bored easily. And so the truth of the matter is, he's concerned that he wants to actually be with you every single morning.
Well, I want to take that a little deeper. Now,
and,
I don't.
And you got to remember, we are recapping.
I know, and I don't know. I know, but I don't know Matthew, so I don't really know what he meant by that. I'm going to choose to read into that when he says he wants somebody he wants to wake up to every morning, I don't think it's necessarily the physical. I'm not saying, because one thing I do not subscribe to is this whole, and we were just watching this movie, I can't remember the name of it. You go into bed with your makeup on, with your hair perfect, and you got to jump up in the morning before he wake up and get your makeup on and all that. That's, to me, that ain't the real you. I think that more so, I think that what that person means is that they want what I hear when a person says that, I want to be able to go to bed. This is a person I want to go to bed with at night. I want to wake up to every morning. It's a person that I want to spend my life with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a person that I want to be vulnerable with. It's a person that I want to see every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's necessarily about your physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about your heart. This is a person that I want to wake up with every day. I want this person in my life every day. I can't see my life without this person in it every day.
Got it. No, I love it. And Karen, to answer your question, no, I haven't. So we'll keep it moving from there, and we'll just do what it do. Babe, I love that. Number 12, she knows me better than I know myself. Ahmad, 28, says, when we know the other person more than you know yourself, when the other person's happiness outweighs your own, someone to look out for, and someone who looks out for you, a partnership that allows you to kick life in the balls together as a team, resilience in the hard times that you can't see in someone until it's tested. But if you need just one thing, and he says, the physical, then that's a challenge. He wants to get married to this person because she knows me better than I know myself. And one of the things that I like about that is at 28 years old, what he recognizes is that his perspective is narrowed. And he wants to be with a person that is looking and knows him almost better, meaning when he says better than he knows himself, in other words, that she can check him. That she can say, you know what, you're off course. That she can say, you know what, I think that you need to do this way, and that he can actually respect that. And I definitely think that that's a great way to look at it, because the truth of the matter is that marriage is designed to be forever.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, if you're in a relationship with someone who you do not want to help hold you accountable for things, you should not marry them. And let me tell you why. Because by definition of the marriage, they're going to continue to be the closest person in your life. And if they see something that's not good and they hold you accountable to it, then you're going to be always challenged with this person, quote, telling you what to do, or, quote, running your life. And so if you're not careful, you'll find yourself in a situation where this person is irritating you because they're actually trying to help you grow, and you don't want that. That's fine, but you may want to rethink if you want to get married to a person that knows you really, really, really well. She supports my goals and ambitions. We talked about that last week. This guy says, his name is Phil. He's 25. He says, I'd like to marry a girl who is similar to me and supports me, even if we have different goals. At the end of the day, knowing that we are there for each other is the most important thing. And I think that that's critical.
Or did we stop on 7 last week?
Well, did we go, know what?
You're doing...
I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
You know what? I am.
We didn't talk about
We didn't go 13 to 1.
No, we went from 1 to 7.
Y'all see why I need my coffee? Well, we just put them out there. This show went backwards real fast.
That's okay.
That's okay, because that's what we were talking about this week, and we will go back to those. Do you want to go back to the ones that we talked about last week?
No, if you'd like to find out what we talked about last week, you can check out the replay. So we're going to move forward and continue our conversation this week.
Right.
We're talking about the 13 things that 13 very honest men said were things that helped them to identify if she was the one.
Right.
And so last week we talked about the first 7 things, and today we're talking about, he actually started with number 13. We're going up from 13 up to 7. So number 13 was that she's who I want to wake up to every morning, and that's the first one we talked about today. Then we talked about she knows me better than I know myself. I wanted to add a piece to that.
Hey, Nicole.
And one thing that I think that as he was talking about that, I think that speaks to friendship also. It speaks to, they want you to be their friend. They want you to, for lack of better terms, I always say, I'm his boy.
That's funny. You got to explain that, because some ladies, I hear them say, I don't want to be his boy.
Meaning that we can talk about anything.
That's true.
Anything.
That's true.
We are friends to that degree that, it's been times he's come home and told me,
I ain't mess with you, Brenda.
That, somebody tried to be slick with him.
See, Nichelle said, huh?
Somebody tried
She's going to explain it, Nichelle.
Somebody tried to be slick with him, maybe on social media, whatever. They done slid him a little something.
Somebody slid into my DM.
Slid into his DM, and he'll come and tell me, and I'll be like, oh, really?
Right.
Ain't no, and we'll talk about it and be like, okay, so this is what you need to do.
Or
this how you respond. Or I'm able to tell him,
you was in the grocery store.
boy, I'm in the grocery store today.
What happened? This is how we talk.
This guy, now I'm just minding my business.
You what? Doing what?
I'm just minding my business.
Now I done sat my coffee down. I'm listening now.
I'm minding my business.
What?
And so I see him. He come up and down the aisle a couple times. I notice he watching me. I pick up on
He
that.
should be noticing you. That's what I'm saying.
And so by the time I get to the register, I'm leaving out the store. He come out the store behind me, like, excuse me, ma'am. And I'm like, yes, can I help you? I would really like to know if I could take you out to dinner. I was like, oh.
And then I'm saying, he told you that? Wow, just like that? Wow, this brother is like really, he out there with it.
Right, and I'm like, I really, I appreciate you asking. I was like, but I don't think my husband would appreciate that, but thank you for, the offer. You have a great day.
Right.
And I mean, we have those type of conversations
all the time.
And to take it even deeper, when I say I'm like one of the guys. He's like, I mean, we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can even share with him, like, there was a season when we were going through. It was a little challenge. We were having some little challenges in our relationship, nothing deep, but I started having thoughts of not stepping out. But there was this guy on my job that I would have that we were talking,
mm-hmm.
and not talking like that. I mean, just we would have normal conversations. But I noticed that the conversations were starting to go in a different direction, and I could tell that he was interested in me more than just us having conversations. I was able to come home and tell Glenn, this is what's happening, and if I have to be honest, I like the attention that I'm getting from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, you're so caught up in work. Sometimes I feel like I don't get that from you.
And she was able to come home and have a conversation like that with me. And it did not end up in a fist fight or a verbal altercation or a defensive thing. It wasn't a thing where I'm now having to say, well, wait a minute, don't I this and don't I do that? Right. I think that Sheri and I, what we're saying is that when a man feels like that he can get undressed emotionally with a woman, that will make you marriage material in a heartbeat. Even though men traditionally are not emotional like that, where they're willing to be super vulnerable, they love it when they can be. Or when you provide an environment that makes sense for that, because that's not normal for us.
Well, I want to challenge that. It is normal. It just looks different.
Well,
men are vulnerable. Men are emotional, but it looks different than what we expect it to look like.
But it's not normal, baby. I have to disagree. When I say it's not normal, in other words, growing up as a man, what is not normal or something
you don't express your emotions.
Listen to me. I'm a man. I need you to listen. Y'all listen to me. Men, ladies, listen. Men grow up in environments where it is absolutely unacceptable for you to be vulnerable. It's unacceptable.
Right.
Babe, let me finish that thought.
Go ahead.
Because you are going down a road that I'm telling you right now, that's not
what I was saying.
Then what are you saying then?
I'm not saying that men do not express their emotions. Men are not vulnerable, but they do feel.
I'm not saying that they don't feel.
That's why I don't want.
So we're saying the same thing.
When you say that men are not emotional, that's why I want them. Men are emotional. They just don't express it. They don't show it the way that women do.
That's true. 100%.
Because what
I'm emotional right now.
Right. Because women, we take on that persona that men have and think that they just don't feel nothing.
Exactly.
That's not true.
Exactly.
They do feel.
Exactly. No, you're 100% correct.
They are emotional. They just do not express it. They don't show it. They're not vulnerable with their emotions. And when they do allow themselves to be vulnerable, the worst thing you can do is if you trample on that.
Right. Then that's when there's going to be a problem.
Right.
So let me go back and let me sort of give you guys a narrowed view. And when I say narrow, meaning my perspective of not only my own life, but the men that I've had a chance to grow with. And we're talking about what this guy says, and when he says that where are we? She knows me better than I know myself. Oftentimes when I felt like, you know what, and we're going to go back to the conversation where we're talking about things, I can share with you anything. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because I feel like that I feel safe around you to share. Just like this dialogue that we just went through right now, that could be a full-blown argument.
Right.
in most people's relationships.
Right.
You and I talk this way all the time, where I can slow you down and say, no, babe, time out. That is not what I'm saying.
Right. And I can do the same.
And you can say, okay, let me put the brakes on and let me hear you. Let me listen. And vice versa. And I think that what happens is, ladies, is that when a man doesn't feel like he can be safe with you enough to have real, legit conversations, one of the things I want you to understand is that puts him back into a place where he grew up. In other words, most men don't grow up where they feel safe to share. Right. And when I say that's not normal, that's what I mean. Right. It is not a normal condition that most men grow up in where being vulnerable is the order of the day. Right. Being vulnerable as a man labels you weak. Being vulnerable as a man labels you a punk. Being vulnerable as a man will get you beat up. Being vulnerable as a man will get you left. Being vulnerable as a man will cause people to judge you and call you weak or whatever the case may be. So when I say it's not normal, men don't experience that on a regular where they feel safe enough to share. That's why we generally don't. It's not that we don't feel. It's because the information at that particular point that we're trying to sort of sort out in our mind is something we don't feel safe to share. Right. So therefore, if I'm going to share it and I get judged by it, or I get ripped by that thought, or I get left, you leave me, or I get punched in the mouth, even verbally, like, well, why do you think that? Last week I shared where I had in a dating relationship with someone prior to Sheri. I had a very incredibly, I thought, positive experience in that I got promoted on my job. When I got promoted on my job, I got a $10,000 bonus. And I had never seen that much money in one paycheck in all my life. And so when I shared, hey, I got promoted, that should be a celebration, right? Hey, I got promoted and this is the kind of money I'm going to get as a bonus, that too should be a celebration, right? But then when I get the response of, because now I'm beginning to say, here's what I think I'm going to do with those funds, now the response to that is, that's stupid. Right. That's the kind of stuff that makes me say, you know what, I ain't married. Why would I marry somebody who doesn't support at least the fact that I'm thinking or what my feelings may be on a subject matter? So I just wanted to make sure that I was clarifying that, and that brings us to this fourth one that we're talking about today, which is actually number 10 on the list. That she's passionate about our connection. Here's what Abel, who's 27, said. He said, when you are passionate for one another and can go out in the world and do whatever life presents you with, life is a dance and so is love. Even more so, being able to tiptoe on the boundaries of reality with a partner in crime is a true sign of connectedness and unity. At that time, you do not just notice the essence of one another, but become the essence together. And I think that is an awfully deep insight that Abel said that he feels like, and obviously he's talking about something from a great place of passion, that the idea of us literally exploring life together is attractive enough for me to say, I do, or I want to say, I do. Like, will you marry me? Right. That even though, yes, you're two individuals when you come together, and you stay two individuals even when you get married, but that there's something that connects the two of you and that you're able to pursue that together. That there's something more than just love. There's a connection that you guys have, that you guys can go down this path together and you guys are pursuing this together. I know for Glenn and I, when we met, we both were passionate about working in the lives of students at that point in our lives, and we came together. For me, was birthed out of me raising my daughter as a single parent, and I was very much the involved parent in whatever she was doing. And so we wound up coming alongside each other and wound up working together. That's how we initially met, but we realized that we both shared a same passion in serving in the lives of kids and being able to help kids to grow, to be able to help them to get to not go through the stuff that we went through growing up. Yep. And so that became a mission that we had together that, we were able to start out on in life together, and that eventually spawned into, maps, into us coaching and But yeah,
couples when it started with parents.
but she skipped over a major component was that when I ran into you and you ran into me, we were both on that mission separately.
Right.
It didn't have anything to do with each other.
Right.
And it was the passion for that thing that brought us closer.
Right.
And so the closer was, I wasn't thinking about taking her out on a date.
Right.
I just wanted to be her friend.
Right.
I just wanted to be like, can we hang out after this? Can we grab a cup of coffee? There were times long before we started dating, you and I would spend time just talking.
Yes. Yes.
Long before I expressed any interest in you, quite frankly, and I tell this all the time, you share this, Sheri wasn't my quote, my type. And I didn't even view her as dating material, let alone marriage. But not that anything was flawed with her. It just, she was, how we do, y'all. We have this thought and, I like them this way, that way, or the other for all the reasons. And I think most of them are super surface, but we have them, right? Well, Sheri wasn't, quote, my type, and I wasn't her type. And we spent time. Right. And we talked about the things that we were super passionate about, so much so that, we find ourselves on the phone all the time. It's like, what you doing after work today? Nothing. Do me a favor. Meet me over at this particular, I got meetings up until 7, but if you can, meet me for dinner or meet me for dessert and coffee, and let's just chop it up. And we talked to the place closed. And we were friends. We were going home in separate cars to separate homes. Wasn't nobody kissing nobody, nobody touching nobody, nothing, because we were passionate. Well, it got to the place that where I began to realize, wait a minute, I don't ever want to be away from this person. So what is the next logical step? I wonder if she'd be interested in dating me. Or I wonder if, now you began to feel like you wanted to date before I did, I think. Right. Am I right?
Right. I had started developing feelings
and
for you.
I still was stuck in, let's just be friends for a minute.
Right. And I was like, and I mean, I knew that, so I was like, okay, well, I mean, I feel what I feel, but he ain't there, so I'm not going to trip.
And here's what you did, though. When it got to the place where I was wasting your time,
right, I was like,
then you began to say, well, what are we doing?
Right. Well, yeah, and then I was getting ready to start dating somebody else.
Well, that's the other part I wanted to lead to. Why? Nichelle, listen, check this out. So when she said that, Russ, that's when I realized, wait a minute. I feel for this woman because now it's a problem. Because I'm saying, you want to do what? You want to go out and date somebody else? Why would you do that? Because now I'm thinking my friend is not going to be available. But I had not been thinking of her in a dating relationship. And I said, nah, this is definitely more than friendship. We need to explore that. And so I'm not interested in you going to hang out with other guys and all that stuff. But let's define this. And we started going to work on figuring out what this was, and eventually it led to dating. George Hawkins, that is the truth. What are we doing? Because time is a slip. Time keep on slipping.
There you go with y'all singing
into
again.
The future. So anyway, guys, listen. Listen, what Joe said, I don't know, Glenn. You know you were feeling her. Listen, Joe, you already know. I was feeling her, but not to the depth that she was feeling that commitment part, bro. And that's where I was at. I was feeling Sheri, but I was afraid to take that thing further because of my past, because of the issues that I had, and I wasn't really ready to have that conversation when she was. So this one right here was ready to have a conversation. She was like, what are we doing? What's happening? Which made me come to the table. Ladies, let me give you a secret. If you are feeling like the relationship is going to the next level, and he has not defined what that level looks like for him, you are well within your bounds to ask, what is this?
Right. Get clarity.
Get clarity.
Don't
because
assume.
Please don't do that. Don't assume that because he's riding, he's feeling what you feel.
Just because y'all hang out every day.
That ain't got jack to do with that, y'all. And you really need to understand it. And the reason,
get your feelings hurt.
You in a minute. And so what I want y'all to do is get clarity. Put that in the chat. Get clarity. Everybody put that in the chat. Get clarity.
Because sometimes you may meet somebody and they enjoy spending time with you. They enjoy, being around you. But if they are not in a place that they're ready for a relationship, And you and women, let's be honest, oftentimes emotionally, our emotional connection develops quicker than men's do. So we may start developing an emotional attachment to them, but if we haven't had that conversation and we're assuming, oh well, we together every weekend, we spending time, we doing this, he went with me to the family cookout, this, but y'all haven't had a conversation. What is this? You haven't defined what your relationship is. You can't get upset when now Christmas time comes and he's like, oh well, I'm going with so and so to Susie to Vegas.
She hit me, y'all, because this is a real story. she she hit me below the table, y'all. I'm telling. This is a real story.
I'm going with Susie. I'm not coming to Thanksgiving because I'm going over here.
Right.
I'm like, but I thought I invited you to Thanksgiving. You not, but no, I got plan. Oh, okay.
And you get your feelings hurt because you don't have clarity. Mm-hmm. So when I say get clarity, guys, George, listen, I understand that some people don't want to do that. Some people's temperament will not allow you to get clarity because your temperament doesn't like to confront. But here is what I am going to submit to you. If you don't, you are setting yourself up to get your feelings hurt. You are setting yourself up to get yourself off track, and now you're going down one road, Sheri, and he's going down another road. So we talk about that, and we're talking about the 13 things that these guys have said. Here was the one thing for us that made me say, I want to marry you, and we were talking about she's passionate about our connection. Another one is that, and this is Taylor at 28. He says she shares a spiritual connection with me. It's hard to describe, but someone who completely understands me, a connection beyond words. Like I know she's feeling when she's not around, or how she's feeling when she's not around, or it's when I hug her and I can feel that our souls are connecting. And I think that a lot of times, for some guys, it is a soul connection. And when I say soul, I'm going to talk about your mind, your will, and your emotions. When you are connected with a person on that level as a man, that will obviously, in this guy's case, will move you closer to saying, I do, or I want to marry you, because there is a deep-seated connection to that. And I want to talk a little bit about, because we're running out of time, and we're going to have to pick this up next week and finish out the last part. Well, actually, we could probably finish these two today, but I want to kind of lean into this part. At the end of the day, guys, here's what I know. If you are single and if you are dating, you're not doing that in most cases because you have nothing else to do. Now, granted, there are people who have no interest in marriage, and I get that. I'm not here to judge that. That's not why we even do what we do. We work with singles who want at some point in the not too distant future to get married. They're not pressed to do it. They're not necessarily they're not necessarily in a relationship, but they know that's in the cards for them. And I think that, babe, one of the challenges that I have is that people really don't know enough about themselves to even begin to gravitate toward the person that they want to be with. And what I mean by that is this: we have these lists of expectations of other people, but we're not becoming those people.
Right.
And unfortunately, what happens is that because you're not becoming the thing that you want to attract, you don't attract that.
Right.
And you tend to attract nothing or something you don't want, because quite frankly, it's actually who you are. You're not the person that you want to attract, and so they're not looking for you.
Right. We'll often have these lists of this perfect person. Ladies will have this list, this perfect man. He's got to check all these boxes, but you're not lining up to those things. You're not, you want somebody who's going to be super compassionate, that's going to be, willing to talk to you all the time, that their body's in great shape, that all these things. But are you working on yourselves in that area? Mm-hmm. Are you who you want to attract? Are you, you want somebody that's social, but are you being social? Mm-hmm. Are you the type of person that goes out, that does things? Are you the type of person that, you want somebody that's, spiritually sound? Are you spiritually sound? Are you,
That's good.
But And so we'll judge people when we meet them because they're not meeting these things on our list, but we're not focused on those areas on ourselves. And my belief is that if you focus on you and just continue to grow personally, you're going to attract a person because they're going to see your growth.
Yeah.
If you're putting yourself in now, being single, you can't be single in your house alone.
What do you mean
because
by that?
Because you're going to stay single in your house alone.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put yourself in positions where you can be exposed to other people.
Right.
So you have to go out. You have to be in environments, but you have to put yourself in environments that are related to things that are you.
Right.
That are, that are interests of yours, that are related to the type of person that you want to meet. If you want to meet, if for you something that's important to you is you want somebody that's cultured, you should be going to museums. You should be going to places like that so that you are in that type of environment where you could potentially meet somebody.
Right. And here's the crazy thing is that if you want someone who are cultured, I'd like to think that you've immersed yourself so far into that world that you're really not even in that world to quote, look, you're not trolling in a cultured world for a cultural person. You are that person. Mm-hmm. You're in the museum because that's what you do every Saturday morning from 8 until 10. And if we want you, we better be at that museum.
Right.
Does that make sense? That's who you are. Mm-hmm. It's not what you're doing.
Right.
And I think that that's how you and I discovered each other.
Right.
I wasn't looking for you working with kids. I wasn't trolling. That's nasty if you think about it. It's like, ew, wait a minute. You working with kids so you can date their mama? Is that what this is? No, that's not what. And I want people to really understand that, guys. Amir asked the question, well, why do women look for marriage within 30 days? Why do some ladies talk about marriage within 30 days? And Amir, I know that we do deal with those kinds of things in our MAPS Singles Relationship Academy. I really encourage you that if you are single and you want to become a part of our MAPS Relationship Academy, do me a favor. If you go to our website, Glenn, 2 N's, pbrooksjr.com. Somebody put that in the chat, www.glennpbrooksjr.com. The junior is JR, not spelled all the way out. I think there's a free discovery session at the bottom of that. You just scroll all the way to the bottom and go down to MAPS and just click on sign up for a free discovery session. Because one of the things that we deal with in our singles community is really being able to be honest with where you are. Amir, one of the things that I think is great for a woman that I'm dating, if I take you out on a date, I think it's great for you to be honest about where you are. Mm-hmm. I am mature enough, and I'm just talking about me, to be good with that. And let me tell you why. Because personally, I ain't got time to waste with you. Mm-hmm. That's me. If something, God forbid, ever happened to Sheri and I, one of us end up going on to be with the Lord quicker than we thought we were going to. Mm-hmm. If I was ever to do this again, it is in light of who I am and where I am. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to show up playing the games of, If you are interested at some point being married, at least I know the framework of why we are dating. You're not just hanging out with me because I'm cute. Right. You're hanging out with me, and I think that I would have benefited from so much drama if I knew what you really wanted.
Right.
In other words, you know what I mean? Like, I go back to the girl that I was telling everybody about. I wanted to take my $10,000 bonus, y'all, and go pay off my car. I thought that was a great idea. She thought that was stupid. She thought she thought I should put that down on a house. Here's what I didn't realize, dummy me. Because in her mind, she saw us getting married and me buying a house for us. Well, if I'd have known that from the onset of the relationship, prior to me ever getting the promotion, prior to me ever getting the money, when we got together, she was defining very clearly, I just want you to know that I'm not in this to play games and to drag this on forever. I have been married, I have a son, and I'm looking to get married at some point. Now, we can hang out as friends, but no, for me, that's going to have a shelf life to it. And I'm going to the place in my mind and in my relationships where I'm looking for a husband. I think that's a healthy conversation to have earlier on so that 8 months later, a year later, I get a promotion.
Right.
I get $10,000 bonus. Now I understand that before I even say what I'm going to do, I almost know what she's going to say.
Right.
And it doesn't floor me
Right.
to hear that conversation. And I don't feel like I'm now, all of a sudden the dumb one.
Right.
Because I don't think like she does. I think that unfortunately there's not enough vulnerability and transparency in relationships that cause people to get hurt unnecessarily. Now, do you have to have do you say that a certain way? Sure you do. Right. Is there a timing to that? Sure it is.
And it's how you ask.
Is there a tone to that? Absolutely.
Right.
Because I absolutely believe that if we weren't friends first, we never would have gotten married. Ever.
Right.
Because we wouldn't have attracted each other. But I do think that that's a honest conversation that can be had earlier on versus later.
Right, and I think there are a number of questions, things that need to be asked, when you're dating a person, just so that you know where that person's going. Now, you get to decide whether or not you want to still pursue the relationship, but at least you know what their intention is. That's no different than for, as a man, if you're dating a woman and, you in your 30s, your 40s, and they still want to have kids, and you might be like, you got grown kids or you don't want to have any more children. It sure would be nice for you to know that on the front end.
Boy, would that be
she
nice.
wants to have children.
Hey, Kat,
because
it's good to see you, girl.
Start getting physically intimate. If she pop up pregnant.
And you said, remember that show we was watching the other night?
Yeah.
He was looking real stupid.
Like, you what?
Wasn't excited that she was pregnant. He had 5 children. He wasn't interested in another one. So when she ends up pregnant, like y'all wasn't doing it. Like, why would you not think she could get pregnant?
She got pregnant on her
own. She just kind of, oops, I got pregnant, bruh. Get out of my face.
But because they never had
that conversation. Now he's not excited about a life that's getting ready to come to this world. And she's feeling like, wow, why are you not excited? Mm-hmm. Then that becomes a whole nother issue. And then before you know it, now that's the kind of stuff that causes relationships to break up because of an unmet expectation. Put that in the chat, guys. Unmet expectations. When you have unmet expectations in the confines of any relationship, I promise you, you will miss the mark more than you hit it.
Right.
You will miss the mark more than you hit it. If you guys want to sign up and become a part of the MAPS Relationship Academy, where we get a chance to pull this stuff apart and we get a chance to delve down into your specifics, where you really are, we like to help walk people through, create a game plan on how you can get from where you are to where you want to be. And we do it in community. It's a group coaching environment where you get the opportunity to have support and accountability and, quite frankly, hear perspectives that are just not yours and take from that what you need in order to build the perfect situation for yourself, because you're not in this by yourself. Do us a favor. Go to glennpbrooksjr.com and sign up for a free discovery session. There may be a link being dropped in one of the chats. If that's the case, click on it.
Look at coaching. You can click on the coaching link, or you can go to the MAPS link, and it's going to take you to a page, and you can schedule. It's going to let you click a link to schedule for a free discovery session.
Yep.
15 minutes of your time. You'll meet with one of us. We'll talk to you, find out what your pain points are in your relationship, what you're looking for, and
how
see
we
if
can help.
We can possibly help you.
Yep. Guys, that's it for today. We really went through all of these things between last week and this week. If you did not catch last week's broadcast, I think it was really fire. It's the 3rd most listened to at this point broadcast that we've ever done. So clearly it resonated with some people. Take a look at our YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, do me a huge favor. Share, and subscribe to the page. For those of you guys who are on YouTube, obviously that's a real simple process for you. For those of you who are on Instagram, just go to the link in the bio and it will take you straight to our YouTube channel. We just ask you to subscribe to it. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. It's called Breakfast with the Brookses, and our goal is just to show up and share what we know. We don't know everything, but what we do know, we feel super obligated to share. We're not perfect, but I do know that we're winning. And I don't think that you need to have a perfect season to win a championship. Right. And we'd love to have you guys come along for the ride. Hopefully this has been a great Saturday. Did this help you at all? Put a yes, a thumbs up. Give us some feedback if this helped you at all. Appreciate you, Travel Fairy. Thanks for Unmet Expectations. Renee, Tawana, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Mrs. G, I appreciate you for showing up. Ms. G, I'm sorry. My Big Designs, that's Rick Childs. Good to see you. Imani, thank you again for showing up. Tawana, again. Karen, appreciate you. Lady T on Instagram, appreciate you for showing up. Just Cree, what's up, Cree? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Uncle Joe, you my dude. I appreciate you for showing up on Instagram. Y'all do me a huge favor. Share this out. Tag a friend, because at the end of the day, here's what we know to be true. You cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. Because at the end of the day, we all need some help. Y'all be good. Let's talk next week. Have a great, productive Saturday, fam.